everyone, welcome to J-Hook Crochet. I am Reggie and this is the Yarniversity and I'm very happy to see you all. It's very nice of you to join me today on what I believe is Father's Day in some places of the world. It isn't here, but maybe it is where you are. So thank you all for joining me. I highly appreciate it. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Reggie. This is my channel, J-Hook Crochet, and this is Yarniversity. It's a once a week live class that takes place on YouTube, and we talk about a different crochet or yarn related subject each week. If you are with us live, then welcome. You can talk in the chat and communicate with me. And if you're watching this on replay, you can comment whatever you want down below if you have any questions about the class or anything like that. After you finish watching the replay, you can ask any questions that I didn't answer during the class and I will answer them in the comments. If you're not sure if you're with us live or on replay, the best way to know is look at the top of the chat screen. Depending on what device you're watching this on, either on your computer, then the chat is, I think, here on this side of me, I believe. Or if you're watching this on your phone or another device, it might be that the chat is underneath the video screen. And if the top of the chat screen says live chat or top chat, then you're watching this live. And if it says live chat or top chat replay, then you are watching on replay. If you're watching this on replay and you're interested only in the subject of the lesson, then you might want to skip ahead about 25 minutes to half an hour. That's normally when the class actually starts. The beginning of the live class is mainly me greeting everyone, talking about different things that happened on the channel over the past week, and general chit chat, some administrative announcements, and so on. Also, if you're new here, while I give the class, I mostly talk to the camera, and then every now and then I will pop in back to the chat. So if you had a comment or a question that I missed, just write it again in the chat. I do not ignore anyone on purpose, but I do not look at the chat all through the class, only every now and then whenever I paused to get comments from the viewers. Okay, one more thing that I wanted to say is, of course, whether you're watching it on replay or live, please don't forget to hit the thumbs up for this video. And if you're not yet subscribed to the channel, I would very much appreciate it if you consider subscribing, as well as hitting that notification bell next to the subscribe button. And for those of you who don't know, YouTube had a update in policy, not only YouTube, the general World Wide Web, if you can call it that. And now it is no longer enough for you to check the notification bell and set it to all if you want to get notifications from a certain channel. You also have to set your browser where you watch your YouTube on to be able to get notifications from YouTube. Now that is very, very important. A lot of people do not know that, and then you don't know why you don't get notifications from channels that you do have the bell set on for. So once again, you need to hit the notification bell and set it to all notifications from the channel if you want to get notifications whenever I go live or update a new video. And you need to go to your browser setting, whatever browser you're using, if it's Chrome, Firefox, Internet Explorer, I don't know what you're using. Go to the browser and properties and set the notifications from YouTube to on, so that you will be able to get notifications from YouTube on your device. And if you do both of those actions, the notification problem should be solved. Now, I am not a tech genius, so please don't ask me specific questions about specific devices. I cannot answer them. All right, now I can finally look and see who's with us today. So I see that we have Adele. She's saying she will be lurking today. Welcome in, Adele. Good to see you. And hello to Catherine, my admin, chat admin. She will be watching the chat, so be nice. And hello to Lori, and she says she has me in her ear today while she's cleaning the kitchen. Have a nice time cleaning. Hello to Maribel and Sandra, and Liz is here. Good morning, Liz. It's morning for you guys. It is evening for me, so good evening. And hello to Debbie. Good morning. And I see that we have Samantha joining in. Welcome in. And Michelle is here with us. And Granny D is here. Hello, welcome in. And I see Gail. Welcome in, Gail. And Hannah. Hi, Hannah. Just lurking like every Sunday. Lurkers are more than welcome here. Hello to Denise. And HD, hello, and Claptrap is with us, and David is here. Hello, David. Guten Tag. David, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you are also going live today for a Father's Day special, up until you drop or something like that. Update me if I'm wrong about that. And Linda, hello Linda from Linda's Yarn Barn, and and David actually answered my question before I asked it. Can't stay long, have my own live stream marathon. Yes, good. So I will see you on yours when I get off of mine. Hello to Christy and Alice, welcome in. Samantha says, thank you for explaining this. I believe it's about the notifications. Yeah, it's a policy that changed, I think it's last month, and a lot of people didn't know that and didn't realize why they stopped getting notifications from YouTube. If you drop out, it's because you run out of data on your phone. Oh no! I hope you don't, but you know, these things can run pretty long. You've been here for a while, so you know, but you can always catch the replay. Hi, Linda. Hello. Good afternoon to Linda. As long as you can stand, you'll be there. Okay, David. I will catch you on yours later. And hi to Francie. Hello. She's coming in. And hi, Vera. Welcome in. Okay, so welcome to everyone who's here. Please don't forget to hit the thumbs up, and if you miss my notification bell explanation, then you can watch it on the replay. The important thing is it's not enough to have your notification bell set to on. You also have to adjust your browser default so that you can get notification from YouTube. And if you're not yet subscribed, please subscribe. Lori says she's been on a trip for 8 days. The kids cooked 4 times, but only ran the dishwasher once. Wow. Wow. I bet you have a lot to clean then. Hello, Gina. Welcome in. Okay, Linda. I'm glad you're here, no matter for how long. So, as always, I use this first half an hour of the class for some administrative things and announcements and so on. So, first I want to welcome the new member to the channel who joined us over the past week, and that's Vegan Crochet. So, welcome to Vegan Crochet. Welcome to our membership program, and cheers to you. Cheers, everyone. And yeah, if you are interested in joining that membership program, you will see a small button next to the subscribe button that says join. And if you press that button, you'll get a full rundown of what it means to be a member of the channel, what it takes from you, and what you get in return. In short, people who are members of the channel get special perks that regular subscribers of the channel don't. So if you want to join that, hit that join button and check it out. And if you cannot see the join button, depending on what device you're watching this on, in the description box down below this video, you will find a link that says join this channel to enjoy special perks. And if you press that, you will get the same rundown as well. Yes, Lori, how was the trip? I'm sorry, I didn't ask. I hope you enjoyed it. David says, if he remembers correctly, Lori's kids are young adult guys, so of course she came home to a mess. Yeah, that sounds about right. Debbie, back for Father's Day, but luckily house was great. Oh, so, well, at least your house was clean. Hello to Reza, welcome in. Yeah, and cheers to vegan crochet, as I've said. Maybe one day you'll get to have members, David. Don't worry. It comes to every channel who starts monetizing is able to, and I think you're not that far off. One more thing to our members in our membership program. Our members only live. So this is a friendly reminder to all the channel members. Our members only live will take place on the 24th of June. It's this coming week. So if you haven't set yourself an alarm yet, the notice for that is already on both the Facebook group as well as the community tab on the channel. All you gotta do is go back to the main channel on YouTube, JHook Crochet, and go to the community tab and look for the notice about the members only live. Set yourself a reminder so you do not miss it. And of course, if you won't be able to join us live and you're a member, you can always watch it on the replay, but only members can watch the replay of the members only live, of course. And what we're going to be making on this members only live is a shawl, and for that you will need all the amounts of yarn that you might need is on that notice on the community tab that I have just told you about. So go check it out and see that you have all the materials you need for the members only live. And okay, so I have two more things to announce, but let's see if you guys said anything. When you get monetized, you join my channel. That's sweet, David. All right, so shawl patterns. I said it last week. I said it again. I'm going to continue saying it until the end of the month because I think it's very, very important. So for those of you who do not know Rose at Rose Likes Crochet, definitely get to know Rose. So Rose at Rose Likes Crochet, she does a monthly project or yearly project donations to Wings, which is an organization dedicated to breaking the cycle of domestic violence or helping a survivor of domestic violence and so on. And I think that's a very, very important cause. And she collects a different item every month, a different crochet item from her viewer every month to donate to Wings. And this month, June, is shawls. Now, I live in Germany and I don't get to send things to Rose to donate to Wings often, but I do want to contribute in some way. And I do have shawl patterns on my Etsy shop. And so until the end of June, until the last day of June, all shawl patterns on my Etsy shop are 50% off. For those of you who are interested in using those patterns to make shawls to send to Rose to donate to Wings, there is no need for a special code. They are already discounted 50% off. And the other 50%, so the 50% that you do end up paying for the pattern, are also going to be donated to a domestic violence organization here in Germany. So both the money that you do pay for the pattern as well as the shawl that you will end up using it will be donated to those very important organizations. A very, very important cause. So that's going on until the end of June. And if we were already mentioning the Etsy shop, I do want to say there is still one last advent calendar, hand-dyed advent calendar left on the Etsy shop for whoever interested in grabbing it. That is the very last one that's left. There will be no more. We're not going to update the amount or anything like that. There's only one. So for those of you who are interested in that, go grab it, and don't forget, if you do grab it, to use the special discount code for viewers of my channel. That's in the description box below as well, along with the link to my Etsy shop. Hand-dyed yarn, 24 mini skeins, as well as one full hank, 100-gram hank, a special unique JHook crochet pattern, which will only be available with the advent calendar, as well as some very interesting extras. And the theme for this month's advent calendar is holiday masquerade. So if you're interested in that, as I've said, link in the description box below. Okay, so Lori saying the trip was great, but happy to be home, even with the mess. And her boys are 16 and 22. The 23-year-old female fiance was the one who ran the dishwasher. Oh, well, she got a, she got a good one, huh? Oh, wait. Maybe I misunderstood. Is the 23-year-old fiance of the 23-year-old, she's the one who ran the dishwasher, then he got a good one. Debbie can't wait for the members chat. Me too, I'm very excited about it. Yes, you should definitely send your shawl to Rose David this month. Hey, Anita from YOH Crochet. Haven't made a live in a while. Yeah, we've missed you. Been crazy last month. I also had a very crazy month. Fiber Spider posted a tutorial with one of your shawl patterns. Wow. Would you like me to make that pattern available for free for your members? Oh, wow, David. That would be very nice of you, and I'm sure our members would love it. I highly appreciate it. Hi to another Catherine from Little Bishy Stitches. And by the way, Catherine from Little Bishy Stitches, her link is in the description box below, because I'm going to be showing some of her yarn today. She is having a sale. Yes, 20% off sale on her website, a beautiful hand-dyed yarn. And Catherine, maybe you can put in the chat so everyone knows the special discount code that you need for that. But 20% off of Little Bishy Stitches yarn. Don't miss out on that. Sewer line broke. Oh man. Lots of water damage and mold removal. Oh, that's terrible. I'm so sorry to hear that, Anita. They cut damaged parts out of the drywall and did not patch it. Oh, I hate it when people don't do their job right. Oh, Anita, I wish you, like we say in German, viel Kraft. A lot of strength. I'm very sorry to hear that, and I definitely hope that it will get better soon. Yes, David is fabulous. I highly appreciate all of your support, David. And as Catherine said, we never refuse free patterns. Yes, so here, Catherine put the special discount code in the chat. It says lemonade 20. No, lemonade. Lemonade, all caps, lemonade is the code. And if you put that, you will get 20% off of your order. So check it out. All right, yeah, so I got it right. The fiance is 23. She's engaged to your 22-year-old. She is great. And yes, I believe that if she's the one who managed to turn on the dishwasher while the boys did nothing. Daughter in love. Oh, I love that. I hope it will get better soon, Anita. Reggie, after my live stream today, will come up with a code and email you. Thank you, David. I will very much appreciate it, and I'm sure all of our members will as well. And I hope that everyone helped me raid David after we are done here. Yes, water damage is the worst. I have dealt with those before. All right, so hello Rosemary, welcome in. So yeah, I think I pretty much covered all of my special notices for today, and we're only 20 minutes in. But oh well, I didn't have that much to say today. It has been a crazy week for me. You guys have noticed I haven't had any videos uploaded this week. Only one live, What's on the Hook live on, I think it was Thursday. Oh, and by the way, if you were here with me on the What's on the Hook live on Thursday, don't forget the special giveaway that was included in that live stream. If you were there, you know what I'm talking about, and we will choose the winner for that at the end of today's live stream. So if you haven't entered yet. Thank you, Catherine. She put Little Bitchy Stitches link in the chat as well. Hi, Judy. Welcome in. And yes, all of our members, thank you. How is my son? He is back to normal. You wouldn't know at all that anything happened to him. I think the only people who remembered it is now me and my husband. I think we're still in shock. He's okay. Oh, by the way, I'm drinking martini today. Yeah, in style, right? Okay, so today's class is all about what do you need to know when choosing the best yarn for your crochet project. So I know this is a question that a lot of people ask. I see it coming up a lot on different Facebook groups, on Instagram. I have myself gotten a few emails from people who were asking about specific projects and what do I think if that yarn would work with them or not. So I thought this is a subject that's worth covering. How to choose the best yarn for the project that you are about to begin, and that's what we're going to talk about today. And yes, so that is today's subject, and we will begin talking about it in just a second. But before that, I will tell you that if at any point today you have to leave early, or you came in late, or you're just tired of hearing my voice, today's subject is already written down on the blog, and the link to the blog post is already in the description box below. So if at any point you want to switch over, or while we're talking you want to also have it open, or maybe you want to go and check it later, or the information is very important to you but you cannot hold it all in your mind, so you don't have to write it down. It's already written for you on the blog, and the blog post is already up, so you can always read it again there if you're interested. Crooked A Knit and Crochet, hello to Nova Scotia, welcome in, thank you for being here. I think you're going to put in your very first hobby order. Ooh, yay, Anita! Hobby is the best. Gotta wait till tomorrow to be authorized and out of country charge on your debit card. Well, I hope that you order some very good squishy stuff and that you show us once you get it. Hey, Jana! You have people over for dinner, so you're lurking? Okay, lurking is good here. Yes, they do bounce back so fast. Friday was World Martini Day. How did I miss that? How did I miss that very important information? Why did no one tell me? I love martini. All right. Yeah, so you've always wanted to visit Nova Scotia. I don't know a lot about Nova Scotia other than don't kill me, but the show that me and my husband love to watch and have been following for, I think it's like 10 seasons now, which is, of course, The Curse of Oak Island. Been eyeing those pretty twisters. Yes, look at my twister twill cakes. That's my wall of cakes. The hardest part of a project for me is first selecting the project, then figuring out what yarn to use. Well, that's what we're here for today. Of course, it doesn't help that you have such a large stash. Well, I agree. Right, David, every day is Martini Day. You are correct. Missed opportunities. Well, for that, we drink. Cheers. Okay, so before we begin talking about today's subject, once again, please don't forget to hit the thumbs up if you're new here. Please don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell. And don't forget to adjust your device to being able to get notifications from YouTube. Otherwise, you won't get them. You've missed something with my son? Yeah. My son had an accident last week, but as I've said, it is as if it never happened. Other than the fact that he's missing a tooth, but that would grow back. Thank God he's only 2.5. Hi, Bev. Welcome in. So to everyone who's coming in just in time for the class, please don't forget to hit the thumbs up. And if you guys haven't yet and you were here last week, please don't forget to go back and comment on last week's Yarniversity to enter into the giveaway. Winners, as always, will be chosen at the end of today's Yarniversity. All right, and I think we are now 25 minutes in, so that's about the right time to begin, right? So we are talking about choosing the best yarn for your project. And as always, I like to start with asking you guys a question. So I want you guys to tell me what are some of the problems that you have when choosing a yarn for your project? So other than the fact that it's a problem to choose a yarn, what is, like, specifically, why is it hard for you to choose a certain yarn for a project? Let me know, and let's see what you guys come up with. And hello to Zawa Lenzeifen, and excuse me, 1 second. I'm sorry. But I do believe that when I faded out, you guys sort of caught it anyway, even though I tried to fade out the screen. I had to sneeze again. That happened to me last week, and it appears that that will continue today. So please bear with me as my face is melting. All right, so let's see what you guys are saying. So Catherine is saying you have color neuralgia all the time. Color neuralgia. So colors. Your Catherine, your biggest problem is usually that I don't have the yarn I want in my stash. That is a common problem that sadly this live stream will not be able to solve, other than, you know, my regular saying, life is too short, buy the damn yarn. David is saying, more often my problem is choosing a project for a yarn. That is, you know, the other way around. Finding yarn weights other than DK here in South Africa, plus the cost. Again, finding a specific yarn is not a problem that I can solve today. Other than telling you some good places to maybe buy it. The pollen is back, yeah. Anita is having a hard time choosing color combinations. Okay. I am not allergic to you, I promise. Crochet allergy. Oh, please don't say things like that. I will die. David is saying also my tastes are gradually moving away from budget yarns and into nicer, more expensive yarns. Yeah, well, that happens to us all. Can't purchase the yarn that the designer is using, and she does not give ideas for substitutes. We'll talk about that, Liz, today. You're going to crochet a vintage wrap, but it's not wide enough. Now I need to figure out how to widen the wrap. And well, Rosemary, that is a question that is not for today's class, but if you watch part 1 of my crochet design workshop series, that's back on the channel, go to playlists, and there is the crochet design workshop playlist, and if you watch part 1 of that, was all about how to resize different projects. You have a hard time because there is too many beautiful yarns, so it's hard to choose for the project. Well, I hope today's class will help. Visualization of how a variegated or hand-dyed is going to work up. Well, for that, pretty much the only solution is swatching. I hate swatching, but that is probably the only solution of figuring out what it will look worked up. Knowing what it will look like when worked up, yeah, well, that's the same. Self-striping, color changing yarns. Creative Grandma is now doing sample swatch tutorial, which is a nice help. Also knowing if I have enough. Yeah, I did catch that series from Creative Grandma. However, I think that it will be very hard for her to swatch every possible yarn. So, you know, swatching it yourself. Hello, Nikki! Best yarn for a shawl is her biggest problem. You want to use the yarn, but not that one would be better for this project. These two are nice together, but they're not the right weight. Oh, okay, I get what you're saying. Chris is saying she sometimes doesn't know if the yarn she wants to use will drape or will be too stiff with the stitch in the pattern. So once again, Christy, if you don't know what a certain yarn will look in the pattern, the best is to swatch it. But we will talk about different fibers today, so that might help with knowing what yarns drape better. You have a difficulty substituting yarn weights and getting the correct HKK. I'm not sure what that means. To go with it. Hi, Ursula. Welcome in. Don't worry. Being late is okay. Catherine said, to be honest, I use any yarn for any project. Me too. I just go for it, and don't like it how it looks, you frog it. Yeah, I do the same. Buying too much or too little amount of yarn for a project, that is a problem as well. So one of Creative Grandma's swatch videos yesterday, but it makes me question my resolve to wait quiet a while before buying more yarn. Sure, Rosemary. All right, so thank you all very good points, which some of them we will answer today, and some of them are not oh, you mean hook size? Okay, hook size is what you're saying, Michelle. So some of them we will answer today, and some of them are not really today's topic, but at the end of the class, if I didn't answer them and you still want to ask them, you can ask them again. Breaking out of yarn comfort zones, the solution to that is just go for it. All right, so we will start with today's subject, but before we do, please don't forget to hit the thumbs up when you come in the door, and if you're not yet subscribed to the channel, I would very much appreciate it if you consider subscribing. As I've said before, today's subject is already on the blog, and the link to the blog is in the description box below this video. All right, so let's begin. So we all have that problem whenever we start a new project, right? We have the pattern we want most of the time. Sometimes it works the other way around, but we have the pattern we want. And the first blockage that we come across is, you know, we stand there in front of our yarn stash and we say, what should I use? Do I even have the yarn that I need for that project, or do I have to buy a new one now? I stand in front of my yarn shelves that you see behind me. I stare at all the different colors that I have, all the different yarn weights that I have, all the different fibers that I have, and I need to choose, and it's hard. Sometimes these choices seem impossible. How can you even choose the perfect yarn for this project? How do you know? Will it work out well? Maybe I'll go halfway through and realize it's not the right yarn. Maybe I'll start working with it and it won't feel nice in my hands and so on. Is there a way to avoid all those problems before even beginning? And how can you predict what a certain pattern will look like when it's worked up with that yarn that you chose? There's so many questions, that you need to answer before you begin. So I'm here today to try and help you with that, and we will talk about 4 questions that you can ask yourself before you begin in order to help you solve that problem. And so I hope that today's guide will help you all. And the way it begins is you normally have the pattern picked, but we are talking today about a the case where you either already have your pattern picked or an idea of what it is that you want to make. So you already know that you're going to make a cardigan or a sweater or a shawl or so on, and we are choosing the perfect yarn to go for that project. And today's is not about I have amazing yarn and I don't know what to do with, although some of the things we will talk about today might help you with that as well, with visualizing what sort of projects go with what sort of yarns. So it's pretty much, reversing what we're talking about. So maybe, that will help some of you as well. So we're going to talk about 4 questions that you need to ask yourself before you start the project in order to get the perfect yarn for that project. Lori is saying she cannot swatch it before buying. No, that is correct. That is correct. Swatching before buying is impossible. That was more for like if you already have the yarn in your stash. Estimating yarn when I haven't got the pattern yet. Okay, so like I said, today we're talking about more or less when we already know what project we have in mind, but I will talk about amounts. What if you use up lovely precious yarn and then wish you hadn't used it? Beverly, that's literally my issue with each and every single yarn in my stash, but there's not really a way to get over that other than getting over it. Telling yourself, you bought this yarn to use it, so use it. Hello, Doris. Welcome in. Francie recently started looking for nice patterns or discovering designers. Very often you find pattern for your yarn, but it is a puzzle. Yeah, and we are trying to solve it today together. Do I organize yarn by colors, weight, or fiber? No. I organize yarn by either manufacturer or yarns. Like I stack them together. So you see up here is all my Malaga from Hobby. And then underneath these are all my Knit Crate yarns, which I stopped my Knit Crate subscription. So that's all it's ever going to be. And then here you have some more Hobby yarn, but these are all the Manaya, so they are all together, all of my Manaya, and right next to them is my Little Vicious Stitches window, which as you can see is only half full now, and that is because I used a lot of it lately, a lot, and I love it, I love it, I love it. Here in this window you will see all of different yarns that came in different Etsy subscription boxes. So different subscriptions that I got, the ones that you get every month and pay for separately every month. So it's not like a yearly subscription. So some of them I did like 2 months of, 3 months of, half a year of, and I stacked them all together here. Here you can see all of my Hobby Metallico, which I did a yarn review on. And next to them here in this window is Hobby Dream Color. Up there are all of my bulky yarns. So the top 2 windows in this cabinet are all bulky number 5 or number 6 yarns. Underneath are very thin yarn cakes, which are sort of like lace weight. And over there is my Lilu's Märchengarn yarns, which are very, very, very precious to me. So I, cherish them. Here you can see some Hobby Horizon right next to a whole bunch of King Cole yarns. And here is my Hobby Zafira. Yeah, these are the Hobby Zafira. And here is Hobby Amigo, and underneath is also a whole bunch of Hobby Amigo, which is the regular Hobby acrylic. So I have a whole stack of those as well. And of course behind me my beautiful cakes. That's how I stack my yarn. Like I just stuff specific ones together. Take a look at what other people have done with the same project and different yarns. That is a good solution. Yes. Hello, Wanda. Welcome in. Oh, no, must buy more. Definitely. When I only have half a window of Little Vicious Stitches, I I gotta buy more. And I did. It's coming. Yeah, it's a good thing about using precious yarn is that you might get to replace it, right? Okay, so here is the first question you need to ask yourself when matching the perfect yarn for your project. And the first question is, who is this project for? Who is it for? Who am I making it for? Is it for me? Is it a gift? If it is a gift for someone else, when you crochet for other people, you have to take into considerations different, skin conditions, allergies, sensitivities, and so on. If it's for a child or a baby, there are certain fibers that you wouldn't want to use. So you should probably know who the person you're making it for, and if you have an option, you should probably find out if there are specific fibers that you shouldn't use because they are either allergic or sensitive to. If you do not have the possibility to find out, go for the fibers that put you on the safe side, right? There are hypoallergenic fibers, go for those. So, for example, all plant-based fibers such as cotton, bamboo, tencel, linen, or viscose, those are all plant-based fibers, and they are probably the safest choice when it comes to dealing with allergies. They are also the most skin-friendly yarns for babies, so whenever you make something for babies, I know a lot of people prefer to use acrylic for babies. I personally prefer to use anything that is plant-based for babies. It is way more friendlier on their skin, as well as you don't have the added worries about washing things. When it's a baby item, it should and probably would be washed very, very often. And to avoid that, go for plant-based fiber. Acrylic is almost always a safe choice in terms of skin irritations and allergies. However, this is not like 100%. There are still people who either don't like the feel of or are sensitive to the feel of acrylic yarns. So once again, it is maybe a safer bet than different wools, but I would, in terms of skin irritations and allergies and so on, if you make it for someone that you do not know what their status is, go for plant-based or some kind of a mix, acrylic, plant-based. Go for acrylic bamboo, acrylic cotton, or one of those hypoallergenic wools like alpaca or yak, like a cotton, alpaca, different things like that. So yeah, but if you do go for acrylic, go for anti-pilling acrylic. You never know how people behave when washing their things, if they pay attention to washing instructions. So if you do go for acrylic, go for the anti-pilling kind. So I would definitely go for anything of that sort if I'm making a gift for someone else. Of course, if you're making it for yourself, you know what kind of fibers are better for you, what kind of fibers you prefer to have on your body, so it makes the choice fiber-wise easier for you. Wool-based fibers are sort of a risky options always, but if you have your mindset on using some kind of wool, go for a superwash kind, like superwash merino or superwash BFL, everything that's superwash. Most of the time, again, this is not a sure thing, but most of the time, about 90% of the time, if the wool is superwash, it won't irritate the skin as much because it takes away the lanolin. That is what most people are allergic to. Or, as I've said, go for one of the hypoallergenic kinds like alpaca or yak, or any blend of one of these with either acrylic or plant-based fiber. All right, so that is in terms of how to choose a certain fiber based on who this item is made for. Lori says she's spending some of her time off matching yarns you already own with patterns you already own and putting them in project boxes or bags. Yes, I did that, Lori. I believe I showed it on the live either this week or last week, how I organize all my patterns that I want to make, my 6 bucket list patterns. I just chose yarns for them, put them in project bags so they're already ready to go, and whenever I'm ready to start a new project, I will just grab one of those. That's a great idea. Hi Lacey, welcome in. Michelle is saying her grandson has texture issues, so I have to be careful with his items. What kind of fiber do you use for him then? Great tip, Reggie. I'm drawing up a baby line of hand-dyed yarn colorways. Oh, wow. I want to see those. Kathleen says, yuck, only if I really love that person. Yes, yuck is expensive, of course. So, you know, if you really love someone and you want to make them something out of wool, then yes. See you later, David. Rosemary says she's used anti-pilling acrylic and it drapes well. Yeah, anti-pilling acrylic is a good fiber. It drapes well. It's a safe bet for most gifts. But as I've said, if it's someone you don't personally know close enough to know if how they will react to a certain fiber, then acrylic is also sometimes risky. There are people who have different sensitivities to acrylic fibers. See you later, Crooked Egg Knit and Crochet. Cotton is the best for him. Yeah, right. Michelle, I agree. Anyone who has any kind of irritations that come from fabric or fiber, plant-based fibers are the best for them. Cotton, bamboo, tencel. Tencel is like the best of the best, but you guys know how I feel about tencel. But yeah, as you can see, I mean, look at my stash. I explained to you what everything is before. But pretty much everything that's here above my head, it's all cotton yarns. Also here, all these cakes are cotton yarns. And a very large amount of the hand-dyed yarns here are cotton yarns, because you guys all know that I have my subscription to the Mermaid Spirits yarns, where all the fibers are plant-based fibers. So I love plant-based fibers. I really like that Knit Crate in the past year had a lot of different blends, like wool, cotton, wool, tencel, wool. They even have they had an alpaca tencel, which is an amazing fiber. I wish those kind of stuff were more mass produced and not just high quality mill yarns. But I kind of like that they did that they are not only 100% wool anymore. And they do go for those very special blends. However, it would be nicer if it would have been a different kind of blend that doesn't have wool in it, so that other people can use it as well. Debbie says, yes, it's a great organization tip to put a yarn with the pattern that you want to use it with. You thinking this class will help with this organization project? Yes, Lori, I hope so. Yes, right? Tencel and bamboo, they are amazing. Where can you get and what is tencel? Oh my god, Catherine, can you please go to my channel, get that link from my video about everything you want to know about tencel, and put it in the chat for everyone who has no idea what tencel yarn is. I mean, I know it's, you guys, I can sit here and talk about tencel for hours because it's the best fiber in the world. But if you guys don't know tencel, Catherine will put the link in the chat right now. It's called Everything You Need to Know About Tencel. It's a video that I made sometime last year. You guys, if you haven't tried tencel yet, you need to. And if anyone needs special links for specific places where you can get good tencel yarn, then, well, first of all, Hobie, they have tencel bamboo, amazing fiber. I've made so many things with it. But in terms of specialty, more high-end yarns, I can give you a list. I can give you links, but really all you gotta do is go on the different websites of the big yarn companies and just put in the word tencel in the search, and you will find pretty much every big yarn company in the past few years has at least one yarn in their collection that has tencel in it, because it's such a good fiber. It's like an up-and-coming fiber in the past few years, and I love it, and you guys need it. Lacey says she loves linen blends for some reason. There probably is a good reason for it, because linen is another great fiber. It gets very soft after you wash it for the first time. A lot of people hold linen for the first time and they think it's like rough. After you work with it and after you wash it, it becomes amazing. And yes, linen is a good fiber as well. Very, very airy, very breathable material. If you guys did not watch my video about vegan yarns, we had a Yarniversity, the complete, I think it was called like the complete guide to vegan yarns. And if anyone didn't watch that, you should go back and watch it. There is also a lot of recommendations in there to places where you can get those vegan yarns. And it's all about plant-based materials. Yay, Link! I only know about tencel because of Yarniversity, says Debbie. Does tencel come in different twists plus chainette? Yes, it comes in every form. It's a fiber, just like cotton. More and more companies start using it now. Woolen the Gang has a version of it. Ice Yarn has a version of it. Atrophyl has a version of it. Pretty much every big company. If you go on Hobium, if you go on Ice Yarns, if you go on Hobby, if you go on, I'm sure if you go on one of the big websites in the US, I don't know what you guys have there, webs and so on, and just write Tencel, Tencel into the search, and you'll find it. You got a free yarn made of corn from the vegan yarn video. You got a free yarn. Really? How'd you get one for free, Doris? Yeah, the corn yarn is amazing, by the way. I think it's already the third or fourth time that I buy that yarn from Pasquale. Right, so Catherine put in the chat right now the Tencel video, the video about Tencel, as well as the vegan yarn Yarniversity. Thank you very much, Catherine. You're doing a wonderful job today. So you guys, who missed it, you should go watch it another time. Hello, Renee. So to everyone who's watching, came in late, we are talking about how to match the perfect yarn for the project you want to make. We already spoke about the first way or the first question you need to ask yourself, and we're going to move on to the next one. But before we do that, please don't forget to hit the thumbs up for this video. And if you're not yet subscribed to the channel, I would very much appreciate it if you consider subscribing. And we move on to question number 2 that you need to ask yourself before beginning a project in order to help you find the perfect yarn. And the question, the second question we want to ask after we have determined who we're making it for, we need to ask ourselves, is this a seasonal item? Are we making something for spring, something lacy with an open mesh, something light, or are we making something to keep us warm in fall and winter? Does this item has some kind of function that it needs to fulfill? That is a variable that we have to put into the what yarn do I use equation in order to help us choose. So once again, we have plant-based fibers versus wools. For spring and summer, we choose the lighter weight yarns, ones that have high breathability variable, ones that that keep sweat away from the body or that are very absorbent. So we want to go once again for the plant-based fibers. They let air flow, they keep our body cool rather than make us sweat, and in general, plant-based fibers are, you know, the perfect choice for summer, which is why most yarn companies coming summertime, they come out with all those different cotton blends, linen, viscose, bamboo. They suddenly all come out. Also different kinds of blends, so wool, cotton, wool, bamboo. Those are also good, depending, of course, on what wool, but in those cases, we will talk about the wool in just a second. But in general, plant-based fibers are the fibers for the summertime due to their different absorbance qualities. However, as I've said, there are some wools which will work good in summer as well. Sorry. Okay. Like merino, for example, or alpaca. Those are yarns that also have a tendency to keep your body the temperature it is. So if it needs to keep you cool and keep the heat away from the body, or the other way around, need to keep you warm and keep the cold away from your body, they do that. And so merino and alpaca, not by themselves, because 100% alpaca will make you very warm, but blended with some kind of plant-based material will be a very good option for summer. Those plant-based fibers also drape very well, especially if they are a lighter weight yarn. So you want to go for lighter weight in summer. You don't want to use bulky yarn in summertime, right? So normally the yarns that I will recommend for something that's a summer or spring item are lighter weight, something like a lightweight 3, what we call a DK, or a sport weight, which is a number 2, or fingering, which is a number 1, or what we also call sock yarn. Those are, or if you are comfortable working with 0, which is a lace yarn, those are the yarn weights that you want to go for. And in terms of material, as I've said, everything that is either plant-based or a plant-based mix, that's what you want to go for. Acrylic, once again, so many yarns out there in acrylic, and a lot of people like to use acrylic for a lot of items, but take into consideration that acrylic has like 0 breathability. Just as you wouldn't wear like a nylon bag, like a plastic bag, think of a raincoat. If you wear it in the summer, you will sweat like crazy. That is pretty much what acrylic does to your body. Fall and winter are the perfect time for the wools to shine, of course. Alpaca, Angora, Cashmere, Yak, and all the various sheep wools, each with their unique qualities. And if you're interested in knowing about different wool qualities, I think I spoke about it a lot when we did the guide to online shopping. I explained each kind of wool, what does it feel like, and what is the qualities of that wool, so that when people shop online and they know what kind of wool is in the fiber that they are buying, so they can think what it will feel like. So there is a lot of wool talk and different kinds of wool talk in that Yarniversity that we did about how to shop for yarn online. And then you will be able to get all the different qualities of all those different wools. But in general, as a whole, wools are the ones that you go to, and acrylic, of course, and different wool acrylic blends that you go to in terms of winter and fall. Most big box stores will have different blends of acrylic and wool. 100% wool is more expensive and less mass produced, so most of the big companies will either have some kind of wool and then acrylic, nylon, or polyamide blended with it. Some even polyester, but less. Those blends are obviously good as well, and as I've said, they are probably also cheaper than 100% wool yarns. In terms of yarn weight, once again, winter and fall, those are the times where the thicker and bulkier yarns come into play. Of course, you can just as well make a winter item out of a wool-based fingering weight yarn, it will keep you just as warm because of the qualities of wool. However, if you're a person who does like to work with chunkier wools, not just wools, chunkier yarn in general, so winter and fall times is when we go for anything that's a worsted weight and up, in terms of yarn weight. So chunky beanies, chunky cowls, chunky sweaters, they make these really cuddly items, snuggly things that people like to keep cuddled and snuggled and warm with once the temperatures go down. So in terms of yarn weights, of course, once again, if we are talking 100% wool, it can also be a thinner yarn, but if we're going for blends, the thicker the yarn, the warmer it will be. All right, what are you guys saying? Judy says Lion Brand has put out several yarns with bamboo combined with other vegan yarns. Lysol is one of them. Check out Kobu, Trubu, and Nobu. Okay, good to know. We don't have them here, but for those of you in the US who has Lion Brand, check it out. The link you posted to purchase it, vegan yarn, was giving corn yarn away. Really? Not really free. I had to use my points. Wow. That is so cool, Doris. I'm so happy that using that link, you got to get one of those corn yarns, and I hope you like it. I mean, I love mine. I know I love mine. Ursula is crocheting and listening. Glad you're here. You're on it. Angela is here, the crazy poppy lady. Hello. Sorry you're late. Don't worry. Diane D says, I just bought Tencel for first time because it was on clearance for $1.24 at Hobby Lobby. When I got home, I started a newborn baby blanket, beautiful drape, shine, and does not split. Yes, I told you guys, it is the perfect fiber. Hey, now I remember polyester from the 70s. Catherine says she find when it comes to big box wool yarns, she likes acrylic blends better as they tend to be softer. Yeah, I agree with that. Because mass-produced wools can be rougher. They don't go through they're not like the delicate hand-dyed ones. You haven't tried it yet. Really? You gotta try it, Doris. It's such a good yarn. I mean, well, okay, I've spoken about it enough in the last 2 years. Hi, Kim from Affordably Crafty. Welcome in. And hello to Jamie. Hi. You've been working on the Abigail fairy dress in cream cotton. Luckily for me, I wear a child size, so I'm making this for me. Yay! I'm so happy that you liked the tutorial. Thank you. I'm very happy that you are enjoying the tutorial and you think that it is well explained. And I would love to see the dress once it's done, of course. So don't forget to post pictures. You all remember the smell of polyester. That you're able to follow my tutorial by just listening, not having to watch. Wow, that makes me so happy to hear it, Jamie. I'm so happy that you are enjoying the tutorial, and I'm really looking forward to seeing your finished dress. Right, so for everyone just coming in, we are talking about how to choose the best yarn to fit your project. I have 4 questions that will help you decide what is the perfect yarn for the project that you want to make. And once you answered all 4 questions, you should theoretically be standing with the perfect yarn that you want for the project in your hand. So if you just walked in, please don't forget to hit the thumbs up. If you're not yet subscribed to the channel, I would very much appreciate it if you consider subscribing. If you were here last week and didn't go back yet to enter into the giveaway, now is your chance, as well as if you were here with us on the What's on the Hook live that was on Thursday. I asked a question there as well. So if you go back and answer, we will choose both winners at the end of today's Yarniversity. And yeah, and if you want to join our membership program, just hit that join button next to the subscribe button. It will give you a full rundown of what it takes to be a member of the channel and what you get in return. And we will have our monthly members only live on the 24th of June. It's this upcoming week, and we are going to be making a shawl. So for all our members, please do not forget. Lori says she wore a 100% cotton swimsuit cover-up all week, and now you're going to check everywhere for cotton clearance yarn to make a whole new wardrobe. See? It's perfect. Plant-based fibers are the best, vegan, friendly to the environment, and they feel amazing. Yeah, you guys all know I am a vegan yarn person, so yeah. Cheers to you all. Before we continue, I will show you today's giveaway. So if you're new here, this is how it works. I'm going to show you what's going to be in the giveaway. And once the live stream is over, so not now, because if you comment now, it will go in the chat. Once the live stream is over and it goes into replay, you come back to the video and you leave a comment down below. And in today's comment, I want to know or tell me a story about a project where you chose the yarn for the project and it wasn't the right yarn for the project. And I want you to tell me the story of, you know, what yarn did you choose and why wasn't it the right one. And I also want you to tell me, following today's class, what do you think you would have done different to choose the right yarn for that project. So that is the question for today, and you answer it in the comments below the video once it goes into replay, and next week on Yarniversity we will choose a winner. So let me show you what the prize for that would be. So for the winner next week, that will be chosen out of the comment on this week, you will get a cute set of minis. They are sparkly minis, 10 grams each. Sparkly minis, rainbow colors, and to go with them you will get a set of all rainbow colors stitch markers, plastic lock stitch markers, you know, the best kind. And they will be together with the yarn. So rainbow yarn, rainbow yarn and rainbow stitch markers. That's today's giveaway, and if you want to enter into that, all you gotta do is come back to the replay and answer the question I just asked. Oh, members, believe me, you are not gonna want to miss the live. Yeah, Catherine, I agree. Does the weight type of yarn matter when making something for a full figure girl as opposed to a thin girl? Well, the only thing I can think of is that the thicker the yarn, the heavier the item you make. So if it's a bigger item for a bigger sized person, the item itself is going to be very heavy depending on the yarn you choose. So I would say if it is a wearable and it's big, go for lighter weight. But that's not like a must, because there are thick, big sweaters for bigger sizes as well, and they work. It's not that it's going to be heavy to wear. It's just the item itself will be very heavy in general. So if that's something that matters in terms of what the item is, I think that's the only thing I would consider. But other than that, probably no. Reggie, seriously, I'm not able to follow most tutorials by listening. However, your tutorials are not just visually pleasant, but vocally distant enough to follow without having to watch. Oh my god, you're gonna make me blush today, Jamie. Thank you for saying that. I highly appreciate it, and I'm happy that you are happy, and I would really much want to see you in the dress after you finish making it. Lori says she has a doctor appointment at the time of the members' lives. Oh no. Will you be able to watch a replay? Yeah, the replays are always there, but only members can watch them. So, of course, yeah, as long as you're a member, you will be able to watch the replay of the members only live. Yes. Be still my little rainbow heart. The amount of stretch in the yarn may cling to a larger frame, says Michelle. Barbara, I would be careful with bulky yarns. Yeah, but other than that, I can't think of a different thing. Yeah, that's that's exactly what I said. I don't think, yeah, other than don't use a heavyweight yarn. I think there's nothing specific. All right, so let's talk about question number 3 that you need to ask yourself before starting a project in order to help you choose the best yarn for that project. So the third question you need to ask yourself is, what does the pattern call for? So up until now, we said, who is it for and is it a seasonal item? And those are 2 variables that will help us choose either a yarn weight or a fiber. Now we want to see, what does the pattern call for? And you guys, some of you said before, a lot of times pattern call for a specific yarn that I don't have access to. How do I know what kind of substitute are there? How do I know how to substitute for a different yarn? So here it is. What does the pattern call for? Sometimes pattern will call for a specific yarn or yarn weight. So sometimes pattern will specify a specific yarn from a specific yarn company, and sometimes patterns will just say this is written for a medium worsted weight yarn, and so on. When reading your pattern, it is important to pay attention what is written, and if what's written is a type of yarn or brand that you have access to. If it is a yarn that you do have access to, so if it is a yarn that is common in the country you live in or found in the stores around you, or you can order it online, I would say try to either get that exact yarn or its equivalent. Now, what do I mean when I say it's equivalent? It is very, very common to find similar yarns produced by different companies, or sometimes produced by the same factory, sold by different companies. So finding a substitute is not very hard as long as you know how to look. You know, one of the best examples for that, and I always give that example, is the Metallico yarn from Hobbii, which I showed you guys. I have a lot of. It's down here. And the Metallico yarn from Hobbii is the same as the Gazelle Rock and Roll and the Ice Yarn Rockstar. It is exactly the same yarn. It is produced in the same factory, sold to different companies, and put different label on there. In the same way, the cakes that you see above my head, the top row here, so these two, and that one, those are yarn art flowers. The row, the 2 rows underneath, those are Hobbii twister, and they are exactly the same yarn. Again, produced by the same yarn factory, put a different label on it. They have the same colorways. If you go and look up yarn art flowers, you will see the exact same colorways, same specs, same everything as the Hobbii twister. In the same way, yarn art Rose Garden is the same exact yarn as the Cotton Kings Twills Deluxe. So there are yarns that are produced by the exact same factory, sold by different companies, and so it does exist. If the yarn is not available in your country by that brand, you can sometimes find the exact same yarn with a different label on it from a company that is available in your country. However, that's not true to all yarns. It's just, let's say, most yarns, okay? what I do, my go-to website in those terms of yarn that is a very, very specific call for a very, very specific yarn is Ice Yarns, because they are, I think, one of the biggest manufacturers for different companies. So a lot of the yarns that you will find on Ice Yarn websites are for companies like Lion Brand, Premier, Hobby buy from them. I did say before Yarn Art, and a lot of yarns on Hobium that you will find on Ice as well. So there are many examples for yarns like that, and the best way to look for them, to know if you can find that same yarn from a different yarn label, is searching the content of the yarn. So what you have to do is you look at the pattern and the pattern corals for a very, very specific yarn. Let's say, just because I have it next to me, let's say the pattern calls for Carnival from Hobby. Okay, that is the yarn that I'm holding in my hand. It's called Carnival. It's 100% acrylic woven style yarn. And it does say that it is 100% acrylic, and it's classified as a lightweight 3. So for those of you who do not know Hobby Carnival, this yarn is exactly the same as Nako, I think it's called Nako Valse, and also how does the yarn that you guys all love there? Unforgettable, Red Heart, right? Unforgettable. That is exactly the same yarn. You'll find same colorways, same specs on all yarns, and they are all made in the exact same factory in Turkey. So the way if I wanna look for a specific yarn, let's say my pattern is calling for Hobby Carnival, and it says I need 3 of those. I look for the yarn specs on Google, okay? Sometimes even writing the name of the yarn, if I write Hobby Carnival, if I write Hobby Carnival 100% acrylic, and the length, so I will say 100% acrylic, 100 grams, 240 meters, made in Turkey. All of that into the search bar. Of course, the first thing that will come up is this yarn, but the second and third and fourth and all the other options will give you yarns that have exactly the same specs, and they are not Hobby Carnival. So that is one way to search. Another way to search is by doing, I don't know, not every country has, but some countries have these websites where you can put in a certain item that you're looking for and compare prices for it on different websites. So that is a way to do that as well. If there is such a search engine in your company that you know. I know in my company we have one that is known for searching for electronics, different electronics, so it will compare prices of TVs and so on. But I tried to put a few yarns in there, and it found them as well on different websites and different companies. Another way to search for the same yarn from different companies. If there is no same yarn from different company, go for the closest thing that you can find in terms of weight and specs of the yarn. So if it says it's a medium weight and it has 100 grams and 230 meters in the ball, in 100% acrylic, try to find a 100% acrylic worsted weight that has about the same amount or the same yardage per 100 grams. So that is just a little bit about how to find equivalent yarns in case the pattern calls for a specific yarn. Try to find something that has, as I've said, the same specs or material. If you choose a different type of fiber, so if the pattern calls for a medium weight acrylic and you choose a medium weight cotton acrylic or medium weight cotton or medium weight wool, a different type of fiber, it can result in a different look or different feel than what the original design is, but it does not mean that you cannot do it. You can. You 100% can. Just take into consideration that, you know, in the end, it might look different than the picture. Also, when a pattern is written for a very particular yarn, so checking your gauge is very, very important. And I know I personally hate checking my gauge, but in cases where the pattern calls for a specific yarn, you have to do your gauge to make sure that your final product will be the size you want it to be, especially if it is a pattern that has different sizes written in it. So in this case, as I've said, make a swatch with the yarn and the hook that you plan to use for the pattern before you start to make sure that you are meeting the correct gauge. Some of us, you know, we all know that some of us crochet tighter than others, so gauge can be it can vary from one person to the next, even if the pattern says use this yarn with this hook, and this is the gauge you should get, and you do the same and you get different tension, that can happen. So even if you're using the exact same yarn in your pattern, it's important to check your gauge and adjust your hook size. But that is, as I've said, that is correct specifically for patterns that call for a specific yarn. And on a side note, I've said it a few times, but I always like to say it again. If you are a crochet designer and you design a pattern, please do not design your pattern to fit a specific yarn. We live in an international community. People from outside of your country might not have access to the same yarn as you are using. Also, make sure that your testers, your pattern testers, they cannot all live in your country and use the exact same yarn as you used, because that is not the case. 99% of the times, that is not who's going to buy your patterns. So please do not design patterns that only work right with a specific yarn. Please. Thank you. All right. What did you guys say? Exactly. Go for the yarn content and weight. That is correct. Thinking about ordering some Metallico when I place my order tomorrow. It is a wonderful yarn, Anita. Reggie, please tell me you have your stash insured. Why? Do I need to? Do I need to insure my yarn collection? Is that similar to Red Heart Unforgettable? Yeah, it is. Carnival is the same as Lion Brand Landscape also. Okay, I don't know that. As I've said, I don't have Lion Brand here. Kim, are you here? Tell Reggie about the app you told us about. Yarn Sub, the app that if a yarn is discontinued, it will give you a substitute. That is a cool idea. I wonder, however, if it works, as I've said, for a specific country, or does it survey all yarn everywhere? But even if it is like a specific country thing, it might be very good for the people in the country where that app operates, and good to know, you know. Yeah, but I just Google the yarn content, and as I've said, I will sometimes write the whole description of the yarn that the pattern calls for, like I told you guys with the Carnival. Yeah. And I'm just wondering if I missed like a did I miss some joke in the chat about insuring my yarn collection, or was that just because I have a lot of yarn I should insure it? Yes, it is a valuable piece of art and a potential income earner for you, so worth protecting. That is an idea. I don't have a life insurance, but a yarn insurance is something I should get. All right, so we covered 3 out of my 4 questions. Tell me, before we go to the next question, did the 3 that we cover so far help you already? in some way. Before we move on to the last thing you need to ask yourself before choosing the yarn. Right. Well, if you joined us late, we're talking about choosing the perfect yarn to go with the project that you want to make. Please don't forget to hit the thumbs up. If you're not yet subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. No, you didn't miss anything. It was just me. Okay, it's a good wonder to wonder. Yeah, so tell me, did the 3 questions that we asked so far help you in any way? And then we will move on to the last one, which I think will be very helpful to a lot of you. Yes, it is helpful. Good, I'm happy. I, as a teacher, have public liability insurance. Same thing, really. Okay. Yes, very helpful. Okay, good. I'm happy that that you guys find it useful. So we will move on to the very last question, that after you have decided, you know, you took a look at the pattern, you see if it calls for a specific yarn, you have either that yarn or its substitute, and then you know, you chose the right fiber content and the right yarn weight according to what season is it for and who is that item made for. And now it is time to choose the color. What color should I use? So that is really one of the key ingredients in the final look of the project, right? Of course, the color. What color will it have? What will it look like when it's done? And yarns come in many different colors, as we all know, as well as multicolored ones. So choosing the perfect one to fit the pattern that you want to make, it could be very tricky. And to help, we are going to talk a little bit about different color styles. Angela saying yes, especially seeing as I'm still mucking up my yarn pattern choice combinations. All right. So we start with the basics, and the basics is solids. So solid colors are creating when dyeing one yarn in a single hue. So when looking at a solid skein ball hank of yarn, you see one even color throughout without variations along the entire length. That is what we call a solid. Usually, only larger commercial yarn companies can create a true solid yarn, because hand-dyed yarns are mostly tonal or semi-solids, which we'll talk about in a second, but not through solids, which is literally that one even dye all throughout the yarn. So, you know, clarifications, that is a solid yarn. In our case, that is Twister Solids. So that is Twister Solids in the colorway Burgundy from Hobie. By the way, all the companies that produce the yarns that I'm showing you guys today, all of their links are in the description box below this video. So that is a solid. So it's a yarn that has the same hue, the same color all throughout without variations and without it going lighter or darker in certain parts. Gail is saying it's interesting and very helpful. I'm happy. Alice is saying colors. Is your project based on a theme? What is the fashionable? If it is a gift, what is the recipient a fan of? Yeah, of course. But I'm talking about not choosing what specific color, but more like choosing the yarn, the way the yarn is colored. So that's what we're talking about. I'm not going to tell you how to choose between blue and purple, because that is normally personal preferences. So that is a solid. Now, because a lot of hand-dyed yarns entered the market lately, we have gotten familiar with the terms semi-solid and tonal yarns. So what's a semi-solid? Semi-solid colors are once again a single hue, but this time showing off the natural variations that result from the unevenness of dye bath. So when you do a dye bath of a certain colorway, when you hand dye yarn, there will be some variations, some places where the color struck more and less, and it is nearly impossible for an indie dyeing company to achieve a truly solid color, as a truly solid color can only be achieved by dyeing the fibers before they are spun into yarn. And since most indie dyers work with yarn skeins that are already spun, so they get yarn that's already in yarn form and not in roving fiber form. So they dye it when it's already spun, which means they're dyeing fiber that is already yarn, and so they will get those here and there variations. So that is a semi-solid. I will give you an example. Hello, Rochelle. Welcome in. Hi. And hello to Anvita. Welcome in. Good to see you both. So here is, for example, a semi-solid, and you will see exactly what I mean. So this specific one is from Knit Crate. It is the Knitology Worsted. And you can see this is all the same hue, but here and there the color looks a little darker, a little lighter. This is not two different colors of yarn. This is one dye bath with one color, but in some places it struck more than other. And that is what is called a semi-solid. So this is a Knit Crate yarn. But of course, I will also show you another one because how how I like my hand-dyed yarns. So here you can see another semi-solid. This one is a Lolo Did It one. This colorway is called Words. It's from her Harry Potter club. And you can see how in some places that brown is browner than others. So that is a semi-solid. All right. Once again, links to the yarn companies of the yarns that I'm showing are all in the description box below the video. Let me put those aside. And the last, in terms of a one-colored yarn, the last type that we need to talk about is a tonal. A tonal yarn is simply one that incorporates lighter and darker versions of the same color in one colorway. So for that, I need to go a little bit technical with you guys. And sorry, and you guys know that I have this like insane knowledge in my brain that I share with you guys. So this particular explanation that I'm about to give you guys now, I saved it from the people who were reading the blog. But for you guys, Yarniversity, yarn nerdy people such as myself, I allow myself to include that information. So a hue, which I keep saying that, but a hue is a color of a one tone of color, like a main pure color. For example, a pure green, mixed with some kind of a grayscale color on the range between black and white. So if we have a pure green and we mix it with black or an almost black grayish color, then we'll get a darker version of that same green. same as when we mix it with a lighter tone of gray or an almost whitish, we will get a lighter version of that same green. So a tonal is when we have that one main color of the green, that pure green, as well as the darker and lighter versions of that same colorway. So it's not a different green. It's not it doesn't have any more yellow or any more blue into it. We all know that all colors are created with some kind of mixture of yellow, blue, and red. So there, the shade of green, it's not yellower or bluer. It's simply either lighter or darker. And that is a very technical term, something that you and I, who don't dye yarn, we won't be able to notice it. However, that is the difference, the technical difference between a tonal and a semi-solid. And I will give you an example of a yarn that is a tonal and not a semi-solid. So my example is this yarn from Little Vicious Stitches. You guys remember I said in the beginning that she's having her summer sale now. If you go on her website, 20% off using the code LEMONADE, all caps, and you'll get 20% off of your order. Little Vicious Stitches yarn. Her link is in the description box below. This colorway is called Wicked. And I really love this colorway, not just because I love the colorway itself, also because I was lucky enough to name it. Yeah. So yeah, that is a tonal. And as you can see, there are different shades of the exact same green throughout. So you wouldn't go like to a greener or like a bluer or a yellower green. It will go to a lighter and darker versions of the same green. So that's a tonal. Okay? Right. All right. What did you guys say? You love the sunflower color from Knitology. Gotta step out. See you later, Anita. And Vita, you love the hand-dyed yarn. Thanks for showing example of the yarn, says Samantha. I've heard tonal, but never knew for sure what it meant. And now you know. Wonderful. So those are solid, semi-solid, and tonal. Now, solid, semi-solid, and tonal yarns, they work very well with any stitch and any pattern. So they are the yarns which will showcase the most intricate stitches, the most extravagant stitch combinations, tonals and semi-solids and solids. They will showcase it in the best way. If the stitch pattern is a complex stitch pattern, you don't want the yarn to also be a complex or busy yarn, because the hard work that you do on the texture will disappear in all the quick color changes of the yarn. So if the pattern that you're making is one with a lot of different stitches, a lot of texture in the fabric, go for one of those. Solid, semi-solids, and tonals are your friends in that case. What's the green hand called again? Does she cake up the hank if required? It's called Wicked. Wicked, like the Wicked Witch, you know, from Oz. Yeah, so does she cake up the yarn? That is a great question. I believe she does. If she's still here, maybe she can answer you. She was here before. there is an overlap between tonal and semi-solid. Yeah, this, as I've said, the semi-solids are ones that that are variations in the color that are made because of the different places where the color stroke, and so they sometimes seem like two different versions of the same color. And yeah, okay, I just explained it. You don't know any commercial tonal yarns, but that's what I would like to try. I don't think that big companies do tonals. I think they do solids because they can. And yarn dyers, so independent yarn dyers, indie dyers, they cannot do solids. That's how tonals and semi-solids were created. Okay. So, moving on to ones that have more than one color in them. So the first one we all know is the ombre yarn. Ombre is a variegated color that fades from dark to light or light to dark shades of the same color, or fades between different colors. So, case in point, you know, all my yarns above me. But I also brought some that I can show you up close. So this one is the Cotton Kings Twirls from Hobby. So here you have, this is a typical ombre. So it goes from lighter shades of pink to darker shades of pink. And it goes gradually, long color changes. So that is an ombre. But that one, in terms of the term ombre, that is also an ombre. Now, it doesn't, for some reason, it doesn't look like that on the camera. But so in the middle is sort of pinkish. And then it goes to purple and to black. So not same shades of one color, but three different colors fade. Yeah, so that is also an ombre type yarn. Excuse me one second. I lost one of the yarns. All right, so that's ombre. The next one I want to talk about is self-striping. So that's pretty self-explanatory. Those are dyed with specific length of different colors, which when they work up, they create stripes, self-striping, hence the name. Depending on the length of each color in the overall yarn cake or skein, the thickness of the stripes in your pattern will vary, of course, again depending on what the pattern is. If you're, you know, making a sock or a beanie where each time you go around is very short, then you will have thicker stripes. And if you make a sweater and each round takes more stitches, and you will have a thinner stripe. But self-striping, it's, as I've said, pretty self-explanatory. You don't know where I read that already. Little Bitchy Stitches PM in case she missed your question. Yeah, you can definitely find her on Instagram. Her links are always in my description box, and you can send her a message either on her website or on her Instagram, but I'm sure she will be happy to cake up for you. So self-striping, as I have said, here is one example for, oh, actually, let's start with the one that I already showed you guys. So this is the Carnival, and it is self-striping. So you will get stripes of orange, and then you'll get stripes of green, and then pink, and then it will repeat itself, as you can see. But depending on how long each color in the yarn is, that's how long you will, of course, have it in the pattern that you make. So the longer the stripes of color in the yarn, the thicker the stripes in your pattern will be. That is another one. That's the Hobby Carnival that I told you guys about before. Here is an example for a self-striping, but here the stripes are shorter, so you get thinner stripes with that one. That is another Hobby yarn. That's Hobby Horizon. For those of you who do not know it, it's relatively new on the Hobby website. But here the stripes, as you can see, the color changes happen a little faster than the yarn that I just showed you. So the stripes will be thinner in your overall design. Hi Barb, welcome in. And hi Ursula. Oh, and Catherine said that she missed the question. She was knitting. The question, Catherine, the question was, do you cake up your yarns in case the customers want that? Yeah, so that's the Horizon. And another form of striping yarn that I'm sure you all know. This is the Sweet Roll from Premier. But we have those kind of cakes literally in every country. You know, the color changing cakes. They make stripes of different colors. They start in one color and they end in another color. So that is also self-striping. So self-striping doesn't necessarily mean that the colors rotate every few rows. It can also be, it begins with blue, then it goes to gray, then it goes to white. So it doesn't go back to blue. That's also self-striping. The yarn that is named Bloom is quite unique because as you work it up, it seems to put self-striping flowers with leaves in a particular row and then goes back. Yeah, Doris, that's not self-striping, that's actually self-patterning, and that's the one we're going to talk about in a few minutes. But yeah. This is a beautiful yarn. Which one? They are all beautiful. Hello, Anita. Welcome back. In the UK, Hobby Carnival is identical to the Signet. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Yes, Angela. It is exactly the same. Knitting in here, I was thinking you were taking notes. For UK, the boho spirit is the same as Hobby Festival Carnival. Yeah. Signet boho spirit, right? And Nako Vals also available in the UK. You learn better where your hands are moving. Right? Hobby Horizon is beautiful. They have beautiful colors. I have a few. Well, this is one, and well, I don't think I think Imogen is blocking your view from the other ones, but I have a lot of these. Beautiful yarn, very good acrylic. Is that one that is the same as the Schipius Wanderlust? I'm not sure. Switch to laptop from phone. Or Reggie, your makeup is fabulous. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Ursula. It's very kind of you to say. In that case, do the dishes. Or maybe, yeah. Okay, yeah. So, self-striping. Now, ombre and self-striping, these yarns are pretty much the best of both worlds. Yeah, they look good in both simple as well as complex stitch patterns because the color changes happen slowly and gradually, and so some patterns that have more intricate design will still look good because the color changes happen slowly and you can still see the different stitches rather than the yarn being too busy. The best example for that is, of course, all those very intricate shawls with like 1,000 different stitches that are all made in those color changing cakes. You can still see the beautiful design even though the yarn changes colors. So you know, those are like the best of both worlds, and they also look very good in just the simplest design because the color of the yarn is so striking, and the way the yarn changes, that even if you just make a waffle stitch scarf, for example, it will still look beautiful. It looks like you did a lot of work, but actually it's the yarn doing all the work for you. Not the horizon, the other skein. This one, Barb. Did you mean the carnival? Horizon looks like those big lollipops, right? Yes. Carnival and Vandalos are similar, says Francie. Jana says she thought the same thing, that it looks like a lollipop. You guys and food. And with all that, yeah, she still didn't answer the question. So, Kat, tell us, do you cake up your yarns in cake form in case your customers are asking for it? And don't want them to be in hanks. All right, so those are the ombre and the self-striping. Next, we're going to talk about multicolored. So multicolored are variegated yarns with 2 or more different colors dyed in short length. With multicolored yarns, you normally can get only a few stitches in one color before it changes to the next one. So unlike the self-striping where you have long rows of the same color, here every few stitches the color will change. So very, very short color changes. That is multicolored. So I think we all sort of have an idea of what that is, but just as a small example, here is that flash dance yarn that I got from Wildflower Yarns, and as you can see, this will have short color changes, so you maybe will get like 3 or 4 stitches in the same color and then it will change to the next. So this is not, it won't be like long stripes of each color, be very, very short color changes. So that is multicolored. Me cat, yes, you cat. She says yes, she does cake. Sorry, you scrolled back but didn't seem to find the question. What would you make with the horizon yarn? For example, well, first of all, that specifically that horizon yarn that I have here is going to be a poncho very soon. But yeah, wearables, definitely blankets, 100%. I will not use it for shawls. It doesn't drape very well. But I will definitely make sweaters and cardigans. I will definitely make blankets out of it. It's very, very soft, I must say. Is pulling yarn a self-patterning yarn? Will a variegated yarn pull in the Argyle play design? I've got to go to a goodbye lunch for only crochet party. Oh, sorry, Lori, that you have to go, but I will answer your question real quick. So there are specific yarns that are made for planned pooling, and those will make the pattern that you want. And there are specific yarns that are not made for that, but you can pull them to make a pattern. There is a website that will help you calculate that. So how many stitches, so if you have a yarn and you want to know how to pull it, there is a website that will help you calculate it. If you remind me, if you send me an email or a private message on any one of the platforms, I will find that website and post it on the Facebook group for those of you who want to learn how to make it doesn't work with any yarn, but a lot of variegated yarns, how to pull them to make a pattern. So for those of you who are interested in that, Lori, if you can remember to send me a message, I will post a link to that website. But there are yarns which are made for plant pooling, and then it will say on the, most of the time it will say on the label that is for plant pooling. And then they will make the the pattern that you want, and there are yarns that can be pulled even though they are not for plant pooling, and for that is that website. But they all fall under the definition of striping yarn. I have a talent for naming colorways. I have named quite a few now, right? You don't like multicolored, it's crazy for this crazy. Do you know that the horizon yarn doesn't drape by making a swatch? Is that the best way to tell before using it? Yes, the best way to tell before using is, of course, making a swatch. I know it doesn't drape because it's... I wouldn't make a shawl out of it. Let's say it this way. It's not... like I would make, like I said, I would make a poncho. I think it will look very, very well in a poncho. I think for a shawl, it's a little too dense, I think is the word. What weight is the horizon yarn? The horizon is 100% acrylic and it is a lightweight 3. Can you use a bigger hook to make it drape more? You probably can. I use it until now with a 4.5, even though they recommend a 4. But I believe if you'll try using that with a 6mm, yeah, maybe you could maybe make it happen. Yes, Jana, that is actually a good idea. Maybe it won't be as dense. Because, I mean, this is a lightweight 3, and normally lightweight 3, you use somewhere between 4.5, 5mm with it. So when I use a 4.5mm with it, it doesn't drape. So I wouldn't, like, it's a little dense. I have also used it with a 5mm and it wasn't different. So, but if you really want to make it happen, you know, maybe if you go up 2 hook sizes, maybe it will look better. I personally haven't tried, so I cannot say anything to that. All right, so we spoke about multicolored just now. And now I want to talk about self-patterning, which is something that Doris mentioned before. So much like self-striping yarns, self-patterning yarns are designed to create a special color work design when you knit with them. So as a whole, these are designed for knitting. Most of the self-patterning yarns are designed to work for knitted projects and not crocheted. But some of them work well with crochet as well. Me personally, I think that about 95% of them don't look well in crochet, but they look beautiful in knitting for those of you who knit. You like speckled and colorful yarns. 5 to 6mm to make it drape more, says Barb. Switching to phone, okay. Would 5mm work for a more dense winter scarf then? Yeah, I think so. I think so, Barb. I think for 5mm with that yarn will be a nice scarf. You have your dense moments. Ursula, you're killing me. All right, so talking about self-patterning yarn, Doris mentioned Bloom. I don't have Bloom, but we have this version here in Europe. This is the knitting essential version of the Premier Bloom. So it's this kind of yarn that does it has stripes of pink, of orange, and then every once in a while there are stripes of those pink and green flecks, if you see it here. So this is a white line. I know it looks pink, but it's a white line with flecks of green and pink. And as you knit it up, they will make little flowers. So you will have a row of, or a stripe of orange and then a stripe of white with flowers. A stripe of orange and a stripe of white with flowers. Again, this works very good with knitting. It does not work as well with crochet. They don't really look like flowers. They look more like dotted. But this is the self-patterning. I have another version of self-patterning. This is a German company. This is Gründel Baby Color. And it makes this pattern when you knit with it. So you will have, start here. You will have a row of this squares, like a checkers, then white, then checkers again in different colors, and white, then dotted, then blue, then checkers in blue and white, and then blue again, and then it repeats itself. So you can see when you look at the yarn, you know how it would look. My hair is all over the yarn. That's my hair, so don't. But yeah, so when you look at the yarn, you will see you have lines of blue, and then you have lines of this white with blue, white, blue, white, blue. So when you see this kind of yarn, even if it doesn't have that pattern on the label like this one does, you can tell by yourself that it's going to be a self-patterning yarn. Another self-patterning yarn that I have used is Hobby Tivoli print. It is sadly discontinued. But if any of you have bought it while it was still available and haven't used it yet, then you should probably know that it is a self-patterning yarn. Yeah, so that's self-patterning. OMG has just discovered the Regia Tutti Frutti. It's awesome and cute self-patterning. Yes, I know Regia has a lot of self-patterning yarns for sock yarns. Well, you can of course make other things with them as well, but they're beautiful for socks. And Catherine, because you are in Europe, you should look up Opal for socks. Excuse me real quick. Sorry for that. All right, you guys like it? Yeah, it does. It does look like Bloom because it is. It's just our version of it. Hey, Mayor, welcome in. All right, so that is self-patterning yarns. Now speckled, that is the last kind I wanted to talk about. So speckled yarn is created when the color is applied to the yarn in flecks and sprinkles. These yarns can sometimes even look dotted, and they will result in a stroke of color appearing in the fabric every now and then. So something that has speckles, it will, when you knit or crochet with it, you will have a few stitches in one color, and then suddenly there will be one stitch in a different color or two stitches, and then it will go back to the main color. That's what speckling does to the yarn. So an example of speckled yarn, I have here one from Felt Fusion. This is the colorway Wilani from Felt Fusion. As I've said, all the yarn companies that I mentioned today, their links are in the description box below. This is an indie dyer. So this is an example of speckled yarn. So as you can see, when you will work this yarn up, the majority of your project will be this grayish white, this grayish cream color, and every now and then you will have like a burst of one stitch in purple, and it will give sort of like a dotted effect to your overall look. But these also come in mass-produced yarns. So there are also mass-produced yarns that have these dotted effect and give the same result. And that is speckled yarn. So the multicolor, the self-patterning, and the speckled yarns are all yarns that work best with simple stitches. They are good for the kind of patterns which show off the yarn rather than a stitch design. So anything that is an open mesh design, you know, a lot of chains and single crochets, or some pattern that is made all in the same stitch. So if you have, for example, a top that's all made in double crochet or single crochet, those kind of patterns, they will work best with the multicolored, the self-patterning, and the speckled, because the pattern itself doesn't have a lot of interest, but the yarn does. Yes, Catherine, opal. And Ursula says she loves opal too. Thank you. So the Catherine Opal has a whole line of sock yarn that is like watercolors. It's amazing. You just look it up. Okay, so that is in terms of how to choose the right color or colorway for your project. And with that, we pretty much covered all the 4 questions that you should ask yourself when coming to choose the yarn for your project. So of course, if you have a pattern and it calls for a certain yarn, you should ask yourself, do I have that yarn? Or do I have its substitute? And we talked about how to choose. Who is this pattern is for? Who am I making this for? And what might be the limitations in terms of the receiver of this pattern or of this project? And what is it, a seasonal project? Is it a spring summer item? Is it a winter fall item? And this helps us choose the yarn weight as well as the fiber. And the last question, of course, in terms of color, which one of those specific variation on colors works best for my project? I have an example for you. Imogen is especially today wearing a scarf that is made with speckled yarn. If you excuse me for just 1 second, I will call her over. So first of all, the pattern is not mine. This is the braid on chevron scarf. I linked the pattern in the description box below to those of you who are interested. It is available on Ravelry. I was a tester for this pattern. And the pattern, as we spoke about today, called for a specific yarn, which I didn't have because I live in Europe. So I spoke to the designer and I explained to her that the yarn that she specifically designed her design for is not available worldwide, and can she please give me the specs? And then I found a yarn that was similar from my stash, and this is a hand-dyed yarn. And as you can see, it is dyed with speckle. So it's sort of like a cream white color, and every now and then there's a speck of pink and orange. Those are the 2 color speckles or that there are on the yarn. And I like it because you can see that like it has a main colorway, and every now and then you will have 1 stitch in a different color. But the pattern design, because it's all double crochet, the yarn is not too busy, but you can see the yarn the best, and you can still see the stitch design because the yarn is not too busy and the pattern is not too busy. So both of them showcase very, very well. And I really like that yarn to project combination that I had with this design. So as I've said, if anyone is interested in this pattern, it's a very nice, easy pattern which has very interesting design detail. You can't really see it, and I can't really bring Imogen closer, but after you make the whole scarf, you braid a braid onto it. So it's here. You guys cannot see it because it's a little far away, but when you are up close, you see it very, very well. There's like in between all the chevron, there's a braid in the fabric, in the design. It's a genius design. I thought it was really nice. And I was very happy and very lucky to be a tester on that pattern test. Thank you, Imogen. But for those of you who are interested, that pattern is linked down below. You love that scarf? All right, so I hope that the four question method has helped you guys, and now it's time for you to ask any specific questions that you might ask or you might have. I'm glad you guys like the combination of the yarn and the pattern. In the meantime, while you guys put your questions in the chat, I am going to get the links for the YouTube random comment picker. So the one from Thursday from our What's on the Hook, as well as last week's Yarniversity. So I'm already telling you guys, entering is now closed. Is that your first glass of beer? That's your question? No, first of all, it's not beer today, Ursula. You missed the beginning. I was explaining that I am drinking martini today. And so it is my first and only glass, and I have only drank that much of it because I took very, very small sips today because it is martini and not wine or beer, which I normally drink. I still love it. I love martini. And apparently, Catherine updated us earlier that we missed World Martini Day, so in honor of that. All right, I don't see any questions popping up in the chat, so I would assume that today's method had helped you guys, that it is clear to everyone, and I would hope that, you know, as time progresses, I will hear more and more testimonies from you guys on how today's method has helped you and how happy you are with your latest makes and the combination of yarn to pattern. I'm very happy that you found today's information good and useful. And now I will take you guys with me. So I already put in the link of Thursday's What's on the Hook, and I already filtered duplicate comments, and we're going to get the comments, and it looks like we have 19 comments. To remind you all, the prize was the if I can't take my yarn, I'm not going notion pouch, which I said I am going to fill with a lot of goodies for you guys, but what inside will be a surprise for you all. So let's see who won that. And it's Laura. Toro 8 star. I like the Around the Garden plant-based yarn, 70% bamboo and 30% linen. The beige color is very pretty. I would love to see what you make with it. Well, you are the winner. So don't forget to email me to my email in the description box below with your full address. I do believe I have it, but still, please email me to claim your prize, and congratulations to you. Cheers. Next, second one, we have last week's Yarniversity, and let's get the comments. 19 comments on that as well. I wonder if it's the same 19 people who go back and comment on all the videos. And let's start. And ooh, look at that. Oh my god. So Laura, she says, I do think people should be able to sell items, for example, hats, sweaters that they made from a pattern, especially if they purchased the pattern. I don't think people should take others other patterns and try to sell those patterns for money. I totally agree with you, Laura. I think if you paid for the pattern and made the items is yours to sell as you wish. But of course, if you bought a pattern, you wouldn't sell the pattern as your own. And would you look at that? That is something that, you know, only happens like once in a millennia. So Laura, you won both of this week's giveaway, and since it was live on YouTube, nobody can say I cheated. So thanks for entering, and you guys see, if you don't forget to enter the giveaway, you can sometimes even win twice. So cheers to Laura, and thanks for participating. And maybe go and buy a lottery ticket or something. Congratulations. I did not forget to change the URL. You saw that it was not the same comment, and they were on two different subjects, so that does mean they were for two different videos. But double congratulations, and yes, way to go, Laura. Congratulations to you. Please don't forget to email me for your prize. And this is a lesson to you all. Don't forget to come back and comment on the video. I will remind you again, this week's giveaway, we have the set of rainbow minis and the set of rainbow stitch markers, and these will go to the lucky winner, which will be chosen next week. So don't forget to come back and leave me a comment and tell me about a story about a project where you chose the wrong yarn for a project, and tell me if with today's recommendations, what would you have done differently? That is the question for next week, so don't forget to come back and enter. All right. I have to bottom up my drink. Perhaps another time. Thank you all very, very much for joining me today. I had a lot of fun with you all, and I hope that you found this week's topic interesting, and I hope that you found it useful. If you haven't yet, please don't forget to hit the thumbs up. If you're interested, today's subject is already on the blog, as I've said, and the link is in the description box below, so you guys can all go and read about it there and leave me a comment there as well. I will see you next week for another Yarniversity. I will see our members on the 24th for our members only live. And don't forget to get your materials in order. And I don't want to promise anything about videos coming out this week, because I did it on the last 2 weeks and then something always happened that prevented this from happening. So I'm just gonna say I hope there will be other videos, but there might not be. So keep your eyes open. Don't forget to hit that notification bell and set your browser settings to get notifications from YouTube. Otherwise, it doesn't matter what kind of options you have on your bell, it would not work. Thank you all for being here. I highly appreciate it, and I love that you guys keep coming back every week. So thank you all very, very much for watching. As always, I will leave the stream going for a few minutes so that you guys can all say goodbye. And if you are a member, don't forget, if you don't yet know when exactly the live stream is, go back to the community tab and check the notice or on the Facebook group. Thank you all very, very much for being here and for watching, and I will see you next time. Cheers. Bye.